Front leg brace, back leg counterbalance. Talking about how in all actions movements where you have an object in your hand or hands, you're releasing that object forward, or you're using that object to propel another object, and you need to move it with high speed and precision. In all these cases, the lower bodies of these movements will have a front leg brace and use your back leg for counterbalance. Getting right into it, probably the most obvious and cleanest example of this would be bowling. Here's a video where a guy goes through his top 5 favorite forms, and this is number 5. And with all of these, you'll see the object in his hand that he's moving forward with precision. He will brace on his front leg and use his back leg to balance the force going forward. There's the brace. And you can see the heavy ball that's moving both to the side and forward. He needs to stop it with the front, and the back leg goes out so he can stay nice and balanced. Another good example. Brace and counterbalance, nice and balanced overall. And then one more from a side view. Momentum stops with the brace leg. Counterbalance leg goes behind. Putting the bowling screenshot here, and it's just the clearest example of you have a front leg brace and then the back leg to counterbalance the weight of the heavy ball that's moving forward and to your side. If we want to be a little more dynamic but still show the same lower body motions, we can go to hockey. These are one-timer goals, and I'll go through a few of them, but you can see, especially in this leadoff case, you have the front leg brace and the back leg to counterbalance all the motion going through. Puck comes in, times it well to have that on the brace, and with the power going forward of the stick, the back leg comes behind, and you can see how well he counters the force, where that front skate, slippery ice from where it's aimed, he's able to stay really nice and still. It's good stuff. Another good example here, you'll say 15 gets it back and shoots and stays nice and upright and in balance. Searching for clips for hockey, I found one more good example of what I'm talking about with how the back leg is purely used for counterbalance of the force going forward. The first clip, he'll go through the 4 different positions of the shot that he talks about, and you'll notice because he's not moving much energy through with the stick and the puck, his back leg stays on the ground.
The setup, the wind-up, the weight transfer, and then the follow-through.
You'll see in the follow-through that that back leg is there, and you might think, hey, you get the weight transfer, and then with the motion acceleration going forward, you always want that back leg stuck on the ground in that same position. Then when talking about tempo, he gives a more real-timed example of the power of the shot.
Position 1, 2, and then 3, 4. I want you to absolutely unleash a rocket of a shot.
Frame by frame of when he releases that rocket of a shot, there is a front leg brace for balance, and the back leg is to counter the force. Every single one of these will do this. Let's do pitching, where everybody has a powerful front leg brace, which they refer to as the lead leg block, actually. And the amount of back leg counterbalance will depend a lot on arm angle coming through. Video I have here is titled, "This is the hardest throwing sidearm pitcher in baseball history," which means he'll probably need a lot of back leg counterbalance. Let's see.
Justin Lawrence might be the hardest throwing sidearm pitcher in baseball history. After exploding onto the scene back in 2021 by topping out at 101 miles per hour during his scoreless debut versus the Diamondbacks, Lawrence proceeded to struggle a little bit during the rest of his rookie campaign.
Like all the others before and the ones to come after, lead leg gets on the ground, the acceleration comes forward and to the side. In this case, the lead leg is pushing back to counter the force of the ball going forward. But for the force of it coming to the side, the back leg goes behind. You can look at that position and you can see how much horizontal force you have, and it is countered by the back leg going behind. Not all sidearm pitchers have that much back leg counterbalance, though. Video titled MLB Nasty Sidearm Pitchers. Watch what happens. This guy doesn't have the counterbalance, so what's going to happen to his body when you have tons of force coming to the side? He's going to fall over. Still has the brace, no weight. Everything is going to this way. The counterbalance isn't there, and look at where he finishes. Again, this is a video about golf. We want to stay in balance, but like bowling that we had, the good slap shots in hockey, or the one-timers rather, if you don't have the counterbalance, you are not going to be in balance, and you're going to have to make up for it in some way, like this pitcher falling over. Those were both sidearm pitchers, and if we need a more over-the-top pitcher, I'll go to Verlander. Front leg brace, back leg comes off the ground and provides slight counterbalance. Not as much as needed as from a sidearm. Also note where I paused here. Front leg brace, still in balance, but in this case his upper body is to the side now, this way, and his back leg is also used for counterbalance here. It's used for counterbalance in the full throwing motion, so as long as you can stay braced and solid and balanced on that front leg, the back leg does its work to make sure that the motion doesn't go wasted. And then a few frame by frames, he's braced on the front leg, no more weight on the back, and you can see it pops in a little there. I'll get to this in other videos, but it has to do with aligning the upper leg with its socket and the hip to allow the hips to move. But there's a little bit of counter right there. Okay, writing down the examples from the pictures, we have bowling, we have hockey, we have baseball pitching, and the next one will be baseball hitting. And if you couldn't guess who I was going to use, it is Mike Trout. These are his first 5 home runs of 2025 this year. And in all of these cases, he has his front leg brace. He uses his back leg to counterbalance the force of the bat coming through the ball. And you can see, depending on where the pitch is in the zone and depending on where he hits the ball, his back leg helps with that. Showing a few of his actual swings.
There's a fly regular season game, and he wants to go out and form. Trout hits it high. And he drills it out to left center field. Wraps up at the mound. Trout to the right field.
And this is the face on of the third one that I showed, and is a good example of the brace where all the weight is there and it's being pushed back, and the back leg being behind for counterbalance. All baseball players have the front leg brace, but not all of them have the back leg for counterbalance. And I want to show the difference here of if you do have that for counterbalance and if you don't, and what can happen. This is from a video where the announcers call the play before they happen. A lot of it is Romo calling the plays in the NFL, but there are 2 batters on what we consider the left-hand side of the box. Both hit home runs. The first one will have good counterbalance and the second one won't.
He's going deep. Grand slam.
Frame by frame, brace, excellent counterbalance. And he's able to do that and stand upright. Like, look at the finish. He's not moving out of there. He's on that brace, and all that force is dealt with. And the second one live, where he doesn't use that leg for counterbalance, take a guess. What do you think is going to happen when you have all that force in front of him?
A drive to right.
Front leg brace, back leg is on the ground, all that force in front, and he falls over and has to catch himself. It works, he hit a home run, but this is not the balance that we want in our golf swing, and frankly, that is not the balance that you want in a baseball swing. Swing is coming through the zone and he's already falling over. Something changes, he can't make the adjustments because of that. That is the importance of having balance. Adding the Trout screenshot, and again, look at all of these positions. Front leg brace, back leg counterbalance when the force of the object is going through. Front leg brace and back leg counterbalance isn't just used in these professional sports that I've been doing so far, but in things like a battering ram as well. You have a heavy object in your hand that you need to get to a really precise location. High speed, high force, precision. Front leg brace, back leg counterbalance is used here as well.
All right, let's see. Beautiful.
He plants, and before the weight goes through, he braces on that front leg, and the back leg is behind. Boom. Front leg brace, back leg counterbalance. Battering ram. One more battering ram for fun.
So again, 22 pounds, quick entry, 1-man battering ram. Boom, I could make entry.
Brace and counterbalance. That'll get you in the door. Also, too, the reason I thought of a battering ram is one of the biggest examples of when you do want to use this is with a medicine ball. It's the same as throwing that into the wall, except if you look up medicine ball videos, a lot of the people have both feet on the ground and they're not getting the force directly where you want it. It's a waste and it's not a good balance. So when you think of battering ram, you can think of medicine ball, and next time you want to go throw one against the wall, you can play around with the brace and you can play around with the importance of having counterbalance if you want the direct hits with the most force. For those who have seen my other videos and have listened to me talk, the big one here that maps to the golf swing, which is the overall place of what I'm going with this video, is the backhand disc golf throw. Absolutely every backhand disc golf throw has the front leg brace, back leg counterbalance. This is talked about constantly, about having to learn it and how to learn it and how everyone does it. But in the case for this video, I'll show Simon Lizotte slow motion from a few different angles, throwing different distances and different types of shots just to show that this is the case. Here's a 150-foot hyzer, and if you don't know about a hyzer, you're more bent over, which means you have more weight in front and will need more back leg doing the counterbalance there. You can see it comes off to the left. 150-foot flat will be more upright, so there's less weight up top that's in front, so you'll need less counterbalance with the soft little throw. You'll be able to see that here. And you can also see that front leg brace coming back and then the back leg coming out behind to counter the body going forward in that positioning. And then the Anheuser, you'll see he's leaning back some with the upper body, and so he needs even less counterbalance with the back leg specifically, but it's still there. Video goes through other distances, but I'm going to skip in this case to the max distance hyzer. Again, the hyzer was the one where you're more bent over, a lot like the golf swing, and you can see the amount of brace and counterbalance he has to rip the disc. Frame by frame, and I'll stop at impact-ish. Look at that. Look at the position and go up to all the other pictures that I have up there. It is the same position. Front leg brace, back leg counterbalance at or just after release. Leon Sonnleitner in a video showing about the reach back places that you can and can't go, but again with the lower body on that straight line, the brace and the counterbalance and the full balance at the end. The last example here, of course, is golf, or maybe I'll say ball golf. But before I get to the example of this, I want to talk quickly about bowling, about backhand disc golf, and baseball. Bowling was the first example I gave because of how clear and how widely known it is to have a front leg brace and a back leg to counter the force of the ball going to one side. Backhand disc golf form is the same way. Every single pro has that front leg brace and the back leg counterbalance the force going through. In baseball hitting, everybody has a front leg brace. Not everybody has the back leg for counterbalance. My guess would be about 30 to 40% have the back leg counterbalance. What I'm here to say, though, is that if you do have the back leg for counterbalance in a baseball swing, your ceiling will be a lot higher than if you don't. Scottie Scheffler is the clear ball golf example, is the only player on tour who does this currently. The issue with this is that the video that I'm about to show, for example, is talking about his insane footwork, when really, go through all these other videos, it is not insane at all. It's a front leg brace and a back leg counterbalance. That's all it is. And people in the ball golf world do not seem to get this, which is just bizarre to me at this point. Here are some of the slow motion examples. They'll highlight the feet, but watch, there's the brace and the counterbalance. It's the same move. From the side, slides up in the air and behind. Watch, remember the trout videos? Looks just like that. Here again, even more slow motion, no weight on it, and it's coming back because there's force in front. One of the bigger swings in this video and the not slow motion, get ready for it. You'll see tons of counterbalance for the force, and you'll see him also being balanced in the end. You can see how he didn't fall over. From the top of the swing coming down, racing on that front leg, all that force. You just need the back leg behind for the balance. Before giving the Scheffler example in ball golf as the only player to have a front leg brace and a back leg counterbalance, I talked about how in baseball, they have a much higher ceiling to how good they can get compared to those that have a back leg that does not get used for balance. That is the same with ball golf. Scheffler is the #1 player in the world. He is by far the best ball striker, and a huge reason for that is what his feet do for balance. Again, take a look at all these pictures. The Scottie Scheffler move that people think is bizarre is the same as every single one of these. The front leg is for bracing. The back leg is not stuck on the ground. It is used to go off to the side to counter the force to your side. Every single one of these moves is the same. Tons more videos to come on this topic, but hopefully this is a good enough intro for the lower body move in the golf swing and how similar it is to all these other examples I've given. Scheffler's move is not bizarre, and you should be working to put this move into your own swing.